Welcome back to another brand new episode of Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 here on the Theme Park Realm YouTube channel. And today is the day we finally move on to a brand new area. I'm finally going to start working on the spooky area of the park. It's been highly anticipated. I've been trying to get round to do it now, since we've basically for like the last 4 or 5 episodes actually, whilst we've been working on that water park, I knew, that this was going to be the next area, the next big area of the park. And this area is going to present a few challenges in the way that the actual space that we've got to use in this area is quite limited compared to what we've had in other areas of the park. We've got such a large amount of different areas now within the actual park that we are kind of running out of space. There's still a very large amount of space at the very back of the park. And I've had some suggestions actually. Someone commented on one of the last videos and said that they think that I should build a sci-fi area, and I actually really like the sound of that, so that might be one of the next areas that I actually move on to, is going to be like a sci-fi themed area. Really like the idea of that, and I think that could fill out the kind of back area of the park quite nicely, and that could be quite a big area as well, because there is lots of theming to work with in that kind of style set that you've got in Roller Coaster Tycoon. Yeah, but before I could actually go on to start building the spooky area, I had to kind of build a dividing wall that would separate the spooky area from the Egyptian style area. So you can see what I'm doing at the moment is actually just adding kind of like a separation wall just to keep the areas both separate from each other. As I've said previously, I've liked to do that, all around the park between all of the different areas. I've made sure that they are all well separated and segregated from each other. And the idea is that when you're in the Egyptian area, you can't see the spooky area on the other side of the wall unless you go through the kind of entrance pathway. So yeah, obviously at the moment it looks quite bare, but that's all going to be built up. There's going to be all buildings in front of that wall, so the idea will be that you won't actually be able to see any of that Egyptian style wall once this is all finished off. But yeah, as I say, this area is probably one of the most scenery intensive areas that I'm going to build, and the main reason for that is because there's not much room to work with, so I'm having to get quite creative whilst I'm using the space, try and make the most of it. And you can see here I actually end up redoing the track quite a few times because I'm trying to make sure that I can get everything to fit the way that I want it to fit. But yeah, the coaster that I've actually gone with for this area, it's actually a launch coaster, an LSM launch coaster I've gone for. I thought this could be really nice, we could have like a kind of like a ground hugging section at the start, and then as we get through the ride it'll get higher and higher, and then obviously into the final brake run, because if you look at the station's quite high up in the air anyway. But I thought we'd start off the launch coaster with like a nice downward section, so obviously you're going to speed out the station into that launch, and then you're going straight down then into a helix, a downwards facing helix, and then obviously there's going to be quite a few airtime hills, stuff like that, just to keep it nice and fresh compared with all of the other rides in the park. I thought this was going to be the best model to go for. It's certainly different to anything else that I've installed, and it is of course going to be a dual launch coaster as well. So you've got the first launch as you come out the station, and then there's a second launch then to get you into that Cobra roll there that I'm just building at the moment. But yeah, I wanted to have the Cobra roll there, kind of like as the sort of centerpiece, if you like, of the ride, and that looks quite good over the whole area as well. So, over the next few videos, we're going to continue working on the spooky area. Really excited for this one. I think it's going to be a really nice area in the park. I have found a bit of difficulty working with some of the scenery pieces with the spooky area. For some reason, some of the actual scenery actually it leaves like lines and stuff, and you'll know as I start to build up, you'll know what I mean. But like some of the panels don't quite match up, and it is a bit fiddly, but it's probably still easier than the Atlantis style theming, because that was a real pain to build. But yeah, it is a little bit sort of finicky to try and get everything to fit together, but we'll figure it out. We'll get it sorted, we'll get it looking nice and fresh, and hopefully all will be well once we've got this finished. But yeah, I wanted to do a few shout outs actually on this video. I wanted to go back through a few of the previous videos and just have a little look through the comments, see if we can get some shout outs on the go. So first of all, Alex K commented on episode 14, he commented on the other day. Saying, hi, I just found the channel the other day, and I must say I'm liking the look of your park so far. I do think, well, thank you first of all very much for your comments. I do think the park, is really good. I'm really happy with it. And what I've been doing recently as well is having a look at other Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 YouTubers, just because I wanted to try and, I don't know, it's difficult really, because I don't want to copy what other people have done. I think the way that I've done this series, I've done it quite well because I've not actually really looked at any other builds. I haven't really got any inspiration from anyone else apart from me. And I think maybe in the future, if I was to build another park, I think I would try and have a look at more RCT free videos on YouTube and kind of maybe take some inspiration, because the things that some people build in this game really are incredible. And I know, a lot of people have said to me that they think my park's really detailed, and obviously that's the whole point of the series, is trying, to get it as detailed as possible. But the things that some people do, it's just incredible. And I think, going forwards, if I was to do another series, I think I would, kind of take some more inspiration from what other people have built and done in the game. But yeah, Alex K said he suggested maybe a Roman, medieval or sci-fi themed area. So I do think, like I said before, I am going to go for the sci-fi theme. I really do think that's going to fit quite well at the back of the park. So hopefully within the next few videos we should get that cracking. We'll try and do some sort of sci-fi video there. But yeah, another shout out goes to Iben Ornelis. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. You always comment on my videos, so thank you very much for the support, and I'm glad that you enjoy the series. And again, you seem to be quite impressed by the park. I don't think it is that impressive, but I do think it's very detailed. That's what I would say. I do think it's quite a detailed park, and it's definitely one of the most detailed parks that I've ever done as well. Chris Clark also commented on that video. I have responded to these people already, but I wanted to give you a shout out on the video because you always seem to comment. So Chris Clark says it would be great to add some real-time footage. Now, I did mention that in one of the previous episodes. I am definitely going to take that on board, and I think I will try and include, as I say, once we finish the series, I am going to go back and do kind of like a walkthrough of the park. So obviously that then would all be real time. But I will try my best to get some more real-time, certainly coaster footage, so you can actually see what the rides are like from kind of like a peep perspective, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I'll definitely try and do that, take that on board and see if we can get some more in-game, real-time, on-ride footage, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I'll definitely try and include that if I can in future videos. But yeah, Cameron also commented on one of my previous videos. It's going back a while now. Well, actually, it was 1 week ago he commented. It's not that long ago. But yeah, he said that he's been missing my videos as well. So again, thank you very much for watching. Really am glad that you're all enjoying the videos. It's a great series. I really enjoy playing RCT3. It just takes so long to make the videos, and that's the problem. It just takes so long. You don't realise when you're watching the time lapse how long it's actually taken me to do this, especially when you get like into all the scenery and stuff like that. It can be quite fiddly, but I do really enjoy the game. It's just basically just having the time, finding the time to actually get into it and sort of do what I need to do. With all of these different areas, there's so much theming and stuff like that I'm putting into them. But yeah, it's going great so far. I'm really enjoying it. Hopefully, we'll have this part finished off by the end of the year. That's what I'm aiming for. And then maybe, over Christmas at some point we could have Planet Coaster or something like that, to keep us all entertained. Like I've said, whilst the theme parks aren't open, this is going to be a real focus for me now, is getting, all this park finished off and seeing what we can do with it. But yeah, like I said before, there is a huge amount of space at the back of the park, so I definitely think, a sci-fi theme would fit quite nicely there. I'm thinking maybe a flying coaster, like a B&M flight. You do have that model in RCT3, so like a B&M flying coaster I think might go quite nicely, so I might have a little look at that and see what we can do with that. Maybe if we were to build like a sort of like a hilly terrain at the back of the park, make it all sci-fi themed, and then have like a flying roller coaster going around it. I think that would look quite cool. But yeah, you can see what I'm doing now is I'm actually building the station building. Now the station building, it serves two purposes. The first purpose is, of course, it is the station building, and the second purpose is it's to hide the wall from the Egyptian style area, so it's sort of doubling up its uses there. But yeah, this was a bit of a pain because it's quite a big building, and actually I think I might go back and make some changes to it because I think it just needs a bit more detail added to it, and I think you'll know what I mean when I get to the end of the video, but I do think it needs some improvement, so I might go back in future and add more detail to it. But the whole idea with this spooky area that I'm going to be going for, I've decided, is it's going to be kind of like a castle. Now obviously this building isn't a castle, this is just like a spooky building, but the whole area is going to be themed around a massive castle. And the walls of the castle are going to go around the entire area, and as I say, you'll see what I mean as we get more into this, but around the whole area there's going to be a massive wall, and it's going to be like a castle wall. And then obviously coming in from the Atlantis style area that you've seen in the previous videos, that castle is obviously going to be there anyway, so then it's just going to kind of extend and wrap around the whole area. So it's almost like you're inside like these castle grounds. That's going to be the whole idea of the area. You're in these kind of like spooky castle grounds. You know, there's rides kind of dotted round, and I'm going to put rides up against the walls as well, so it'll give kind of like the rides a nice backdrop is what I'm thinking. Because the kind of rides that I'm thinking of putting in here, I'm thinking of having like a massive Ferris wheel, you know, like a haunted house attraction, because they've got one of those. Maybe a more intense flat ride as well. I'll have a look, see what we've got on there. But yeah, I'm not quite sure how big I'm going to make this area, because there is a lot of room off to the back, but I'm a little bit worried now about the path system. Because sometimes if you make the theme, if you don't get the path system right, when peeps actually go into the park, they don't walk around everything. So maybe we need to install like a monorail or something like that to make sure that peeps actually get to the very back of the park. So I'm thinking maybe another project that I might sort of get started on might be like a monorail that goes from the very front entrance to the very back of the park, because I think that will help. Once we actually open the park, it'll help kind of distribute the crowds around the park itself. Because I do know I've had that issue before where I've like made a massive park and then it doesn't the peeps just don't get around it. So you'll have like certain rides that like they just don't get, you know, no one goes on them basically because they're so far away from the entrance. And I think that's kind of like just a known issue with RCT3, but I think it can be kind of mitigated if you actually install some sort of transport rides, whether it's a monorail or like a railway, something like that, just to get people from the front of the park to the back of the park. That should hopefully help with that. So maybe, I'm not sure whether I would include that in the sci-fi area or the spooky area, but I definitely think a monorail or a railway is going to be something to think about. And I don't actually know at the moment how I'm going to get it to get there, because obviously there's quite a few different areas now that are in the way. So I probably should have put the monorail in first. You know, in hindsight, I probably should have done that before I built all of the areas, but you know, we live and we learn. If you're building an RCT3 park, do your transport ride first before you build all of your areas. That's the only thing that I can say. But yeah, we're coming up to the end of this video now. As you can see, I'm just theming up the queue line there. I put like a nice little windmill in, really trying to get as much kind of detail in there as possible, use as many of the props that we've got there. But yeah, as always, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Let me know again your thoughts in the comments. I will definitely do another shout out in a few episodes time, so if you do comment down below, you do have a chance of being featured on the video as well. But yeah, as always, thank you very much. Really appreciate everyone that's supporting the series, and I will see you in the next video.